Hi, everybody. DJ Yokley with you for a very special, in a very special situation here. We got Coach Andy Hake of Valley Christian, the longtime stud coach here in the Valley, and we are here at Kufleitner Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Ram, right?
My man.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
And it's a special place to you. This is your place of employment now,
Yeah,
and a great
yeah.
place to be. My goodness, look at all these awesome, giant flag in front of us. I mean, the biggest flag I've ever seen. And this place is brand spanking new, my brother.
It's unbelievable. This is like the Taj Mahal here in Boardman. It's an unbelievable place. John's a great guy. We have great guys, running the place, and it's an honor to be here with you today.
This has been an unbelievable. As soon as we walked in, they started moving cars for us. We're sitting here on one of those, what do they call them, turnstiles?
Yeah, this is unbelievable.
At any moment, somebody could push a button, and you and I are spinning around.
You're the hero.
I don't know about that. You're the hero.
No, I'm something, but you're the hero. They don't do this for me. They did this for you.
All right, so let's talk about we're here, just finished week 3.
Yeah.
You guys had one hell of a game against McDonald. You called it a slugfest.
Yeah.
That was the fastest game I've ever seen. It was a slobber knocker, my friend.
That was an unbelievable game to be a part of. McDonald is, they're and I was telling our kids, McDonald in Trumbull County has more wins than anybody. They're the program in Trumbull County, and I told our guys they're never going to quit. Dan Williams is a great coach. They have tremendous tradition, and they lived up to it. They played 4 quarters against us, and I know that they're a young team. And they have 2 senior runners, though, the quarterback, Hawk and Gilligan. And they played 4 quarters, and they're not an 0-3 football team. I think they'll win, they could easily win 6 of the next 7 games.
And that probably puts them in playoff contention.
Oh, no, they'll be there. McDonald will be there at the end. Anytime people down McDonald, they show everybody what's up. So they're a great team, and they played 4 quarters, and they really pressed the issue. And luckily, our guys, made plays when they had to, and they were coachable. And we got to quit shooting ourselves in the foot with penalties. I think we had 150, 160 yards in penalties. I don't know. It was something insane. But our kids played our butts off, and luckily we got to win.
I mean, you've been a guy that has gone up against McDonald a time or two in some heated contests. Talk to me about what you were telling your kids the entire week and leading up into the pregame speech.
Well, number one, they believe in themselves, and they're never out of a game because they believe they're going to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great rivalry game. If you're going to pick a small school team to be rivals with, that's the one. And I learned that. I grew up in Middle Ridge, and that was our rival by blood, by nature. And then going to Western Reserve, we lost 23 times in a row to them. When I got there, they said, "Hey, we haven't beaten them in 23 years." And I said, well, that's the team you have to beat. If you're gonna win the league, or you're gonna make a name for yourself and build a program, you have to beat McDonald. And that was, and we had some all-time games with them. I mean, they've beaten us last drive. We beaten them last drive. We returned a kick one year at the end of the game. Just great game, great team to be rivals with. And Dan, like I said, Dan Williams is one of the best coaches in the area. Period. One of the best coaches in the area. Period. And he plays up to his strengths. And they're a running football team, and they'll run you over. They ran us over. They had 300 yards rushing, and luckily we had the guys to hang in there. And we had some plays go our way, and they got a big one with Ridge this week.
They sure do.
And Ridge is 2-1, and they're 0-3. And I talked to Brian Shaner yesterday. He's a great friend of mine, coached with me, and I coached under him in Easton Rayan. And I told him, hey, man, when you play McDonald, especially being at Ridge, it means a lot to them to beat you. And you have to make it mean as much to your kids as it means to them. And that's you better be talking to them, because they're going to come in there Friday and they're going to be vengeful. Yeah,
I'm interested. I mean, a lot, obviously, up and down about McDonald,
Sure.
about a lot of these teams in the MVAC, but let's talk about your team.
Yeah.
The culture of Valley Christian. This is your first year coaching them.
Yeah.
You're walking into a situation that not everybody knows a whole lot about. When you walked into and to greet the players the first day, what were your expectations, and what actually came to fruition?
Well, we invited them down to the cafeteria, all the players, and it was a day that there wasn't school, so the parents came too, and I just simply told them, we're here to help you grow, we're going to teach you about football and correlate that to the rest of your life, the things we're going to learn here. All sports really does is reveal your character, who you are as a person. When chips are down, how do you respond? When things are going good, you're going to be humble or you're going to be proud. And we're going to do the best we can to help you grow as a person through this game. I love the game and I respect the game, and I love being around young people. I love coaching. I love being around young people, and it's a passion of mine. And the kids responded immediately. I told them, I plan on winning the state championship here. And now I know a lot of people say, okay, no. I plan on winning the state championship there. And it might take a few years to get the mindset right and get the program going and developing that hey, we have a program and we're going to play a certain way. And the kids have responded unbelievable. They were gunned up listening. Day one, they were gunned up. And it showed. It just wasn't talk because they came to the weight room. And from February on, they've been pretty loyal in the weight room. And we have a double-car garage in our weight room. I mean, it's a city weight room, And but the people at the school are tremendous people. They have a great vision for what they want. And it's a private school, and they talk about God. And, and a lot of times in public schools, they don't want to talk about that.
Correct.
We're in a very touchy age where that is very, I don't want to say frowned upon, but it's political.
Yep.
And it's refreshing to me because I love my country, and I do believe in God. I do believe in Jesus Christ, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. That's, if you have children, you want them to be God-fearing people and respect their families and love their country, and they really encouraged me to be me and said, be like that, and just be the better angels of your nature. Don't try to be the better angels of your nature. And some of the things that, I had to work on as a person, I'm still working on. Just it's a fine line coaching. You want to get on kids, but one of my strengths is don't make it personal with them. Make it personal for them to get better, but don't make it personal and make it demeaning. Yeah. Don't demean kids because they'll shut down, or they're human beings. You don't want to be demeaned. You want to be taught and you want to be coached hard, but don't demean people. So they've encouraged me to be me, and the kids have responded great. I mean, it reminds me a lot of the Rain and East teams we had, speed and toughness, and it's just they need discipline, organization, just like anybody does. Yeah. But sometimes their lives are a little tougher outside of football. So you're dealing with a different person. You're dealing with different. Everybody has problems, but you're dealing with different situations, and but they've responded tremendous, and they know me as a person, and we really get along.
Yeah, Andy, I think one of the biggest things that I appreciate about you is everybody I talk to, whether it's a former player, former coach, they say that you're the kind of guy, that you're the kind of leader that they would run through a wall for if you told them to. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions about when everything went down was the fact that, you were on this, I don't want to say pedestal, but you were on this like superhero leadership that untouchable. And you talk about your faith, you talk about believing in God. That had to be, digging into your faith and digging into some of the challenges that you were overcoming and still overcoming. Yeah. That I've talked about. You talk about that, coming to realizing that you're a human, and and your kids buying into it's okay to make mistakes as long as you learn from them and grow from them.
Absolutely, I talk about that with them a lot. I told my story to them many times, and people are people, and people make mistakes. We're fallible creatures. You know what I mean? And I made a choice dealing with my anxiety, and which was a tough thing at the time, really tough for me, and I have no problem talking about it. I self-medicated with something I shouldn't have, and you get to a place where sometimes in a leadership position, you have a hard time talking to people about it because you think to yourself, they don't understand. There's not too many people that would understand this, and then they think you're coming up with excuses or you're just doing things because you think you can. Yeah. And that wasn't the case at all, but, I immediately checked myself in to get help. No one told me to do that. I did it on my own because I wanted to do the right thing and show people I'm going to do the right thing, show my kids that I coached and taught, I'm going to do the right thing. And for whatever reason or another, it was the best thing for me to do to resign my position for the kids in the community at the time. I love the kids at Western Reserve. Oh, my gosh. They did everything I ever asked them to do. They were loyal. They allowed me to coach them. They allowed me to give them an identity. And, I hope the best for them. I check the scores like everyone. I hope they do well. I'm not a bitter person. I'm not like that. You just got to move on. And wherever you're at, go there. And I'm like that. Wherever I'm at, I go there. When I'm working here, I work my butt off here. And
You too. I saw the trophy on your desk.
Well, you know what it is. Work hard and try to help people. If you do that, things work out for you. And sometimes the ball don't bounce your way. But as for me, made mistakes and corrected them. I felt I went about it the right way, and thank God Valley Christian gave me an opportunity. They're great people there. They're really great people there, and they saw the better angels of my nature, and they said, hey, we're going to put our money on you and be good to these kids. And we've done a lot of things for the kids up to this point, more than you'd ever imagine. I'm not blowing our horn. I'm just saying we go out of our way for the kids with the gear.
Yeah.
I have a buddy, John's a heck of a guy, helps the program. My buddy Bob Sebo helps the program. Moransky's helped the program, and they're good dudes, and they want what's best for kids. And
3 guys that I think you've had the opportunity to have mentors in those guys.
Wonderful guys. Mike Ruley's gone out of his way a little bit
Yeah.
for our team, and it's just great people that Coach Tressel. There's just great people that you get to know through sports and through my profession, and I'm just happy that they know me for who I am, and
Yep.
they never abandoned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and that means a lot. And when you're down and out, when you're winning, and things are
easy.
going well, man, everybody's your buddy.
Yep.
Hey, and then when something happens where you're questioned or things don't go your way or humanity comes out in you, only your family and your real friends stick by you.
Yes, sir.
And that happened to me, and I'm just very blessed to the people that stood by me, and I'm very appreciative of them, and I'm with them to the last dog's hung. I'm with those guys to the last dog's hung, and their friendship means a lot.
No, I love that story because it's what you talk about America. That's it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's fail forward. It's correct your mistakes and re-navigate and recalibrate.
And it's a great lesson to kids.
It is.
They could, people make mistakes, and if you're willing to live up to them and do the right thing, you can bounce back.
That's it. There's people out there that are willing to support you, even though, I mean, and the thing that I think I can appreciate the most is you never asked for a hand out. You asked for a hand up.
Well,
Help me get back on my feet, and I promise you, I'll be the same person that it can lead to a war.
And you know what I think a big thing is, like you said, people make mistakes, and we're fallible creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And just knowing that I made mine and I use it to teach lessons to the kids. Yep. I think that's hey, look, people make mistakes when they do. My big thing was I'd never hurt a kid. Mine was a personal problem.
Yep.
Dealing with my anxiety, my issues, and I went about it the wrong way. But I would never hurt a kid. And I think people will forgive you for some things. When you start, you touching a kid or you're hurting a kid or being physical or corrupting the youth, that's something else.
No.
And people aren't going to forgive you of that.
No.
But mine was something that, a sin's a sin, I guess. And, I made a mistake and I lived up to it, admitted it. And I had an awful lot of people tell me, why didn't you just say this and that? It's not who I am. I told them this is a mistake. This has been bothering me, and I did this. And, you correct it and move on. That's all you can do. And then, people are going to judge you one way or the other. They're going to say, the people that know me know who I am. And the people that don't, that is what it is. And you not kill them with kindness, too, because it doesn't matter in the end,
That's it, brother. All right, let's talk X's and O's.
Yeah.
This team is a very fast team. Very raw, I would say. And you're trying to take that raw talent and kind of refine it.
Yes.
The league, the EOAC, down a little bit with numbers, down a little bit with the program. Obviously, Leetonia's been battling COVID.
Sure.
You were the heavy favorite and looking at this league. I don't know if you knew that. I'm sure you had an idea of people looking at you. What does that say, and how do you kind of keep that chip on the shoulder of your men taking the field every Friday or Saturday against this league as we head into league play?
That's flattering that people think that we're the – because I think that Columbiana and United are darn good football teams.
Mm-hmm.
I think this game with United this week, I just watched a film with them the last 2 days, and they're darn good.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Yep.
And Columbiana I watched live against McDonald, and I was kind of shocked. Week 2 because they lost to Lowville.
Mm-hmm.
Week 1, and they had 7 turnovers. And I knew, and I talked to Bob the next day, and Coach Spade said, we shot ourselves in the foot. And 7 turnovers, that's really hard, especially Lowville's high-powered offense. You can't give them the ball like that over and over and over again and think, hey, they have a great one with Springfield this week. So
yes, they do.
That's a great one. But the league we're in, it's a respectable league. It really is. I'm happy to be in there. And you know what? Southern Local has right. Wellsville's always tough. I'm familiar with these teams because they were in the league with us in that upper tier, lower tier situation.
ITCL.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'm really familiar with these teams, and it's a good league. It is a good league, and whether a couple teams are down, I don't think all the teams are down. I think that United, Columbiana, Southern can beat you. I think Lisbon, East Palestine might be on a rebuilding type phase, but Foster's a good dude at
Tony.
Oh my God, he's a good dude at EP, and Altamore, I believe, is at Lisbon.
Yep.
He's a good coach.
Yep.
That guy's been around a long time. Him and his father. These aren't spring chickens, man. They're good people and they're good coaches. And if you're not ready to play, the advantage I have is speed.
Yep.
And you know what? We also have disadvantages. Some of it's self-discipline.
Mm-hmm. You talked about the turnovers.
Shooting ourselves in the foot. But our kids can overcome that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
We played a good LeBray team, and they're loaded.
Yes, they are.
I would say they're one of the teams that could win their region.
Yep.
And we learned in that game that you got to play 4 quarters, and you can't put your head down, especially against an enemy that's so good.
Mm-hmm.
They outmatched us that night. I'd love to play them again, but that's not how it goes. You get one shot at people.
That's it, man.
And Coach Armini does a heck of a job over there.
Love Johnny.
John's done a great job over there, and this probably is his best team he's had.
Yep. He's got athletes.
Oh man!
But do you see, when you
he's
play
never
a
had
team,
a line
no.
like this one?
But when you see a team like LeBray, do you see where you can be in a couple years with what you're building?
Yeah, but that's get there, facilitate that, and make that happen as fast as you can.
Right.
Because you can.
Yeah.
And you know what? When I went to reserve, all I heard people say was, the history of the school was they've only had a few winning seasons. 89, early 2000, and I thought, well, here's a place where it's a small town. You can make this matter. You got to coach them up. You got to tell the parents, you have to let me coach these kids hard. If you don't allow me, one thing I give Berlin Center when I was there was the parents allowed me to coach the kids like it was 1950. And I'm not saying you're screaming, cussing, and that's not it. It's demanding a lot, and expectations are high.
Yep.
And then they allowed us to do that, and because of that, and they allowed us to bring an identity with, hey, the country matters, your family matters.
Mm-hmm.
And we would talk about that a lot, and that mattered to our kids, and they played harder as a team because of it. And I believe they're still playing hard. They had a tough first 3 games.
Yes.
I mean, they had a brutal first 3 games.
That's a heck of a schedule.
I made that schedule.
Yeah, I know you did.
And I made that schedule, and they don't have as many kids right now.
Right.
We had 60 kids.
Yep.
And that's not knocking them at all, but I made that schedule for 50, 60 kids.
Yep.
And, for whatever reason or another, there's not as many guys on the team right now. But they have a good underclassmen, and Lude's doing a good job with them, and they'll bounce back. They'll be fine in the league. They'll play those league games hard. And I always played great teams early on.
Yep.
I mean, we've always played.
Test yourself.
And I always felt if you win 2 of the first 3 games, and then you split between McDonald and Springfield, you're 8-2 and you're in.
Yep.
There has to be a formula. Now, don't schedule those games if you don't have guys to combat it, or. Now they open up to 16 teams, so it's a completely different landscape. Heck, I think all first 3 games should all be headbangers like that. We played 3 good teams. Camel is not the Camel of the 90s.
Right.
But they had athletes, and it's week 1, and you don't know what's going to happen.
Yep.
And everybody when everybody's 0-0, everybody believes, hey, it's our year.
Yep.
you know what? We're not worrying about what you have. We're 0-0, and they came out and played us good. King did a good job. Hey, it was only 8-0 at halftime with them, and then we kind of opened it up in the second half, and I think the final score was 36-6. But they weren't backing down to us, and, and then LeBray got us, and then luckily we were able to overcome ourselves against McDonald.
Yep.
But looking at the league forward, we have the guys that can get it done. At the same time, we could learn a little bit more, and it might happen. And I don't want it to happen, but I don't talk to kids about losing. I talk to them about learning. You're either going to win or you're going to learn.
Yep.
And if you have to learn a few times in order to be a better team and understand you got to play 4 quarters, you got to be a good teammate, you can't clean up some of the stuff, control the stuff that you can control, we'll be better for it. And I know it sucks losing, man. I mean, believe me, I'm one of the worst when it comes to losing. I can't sleep. I get, and that's part of my problem, But you got to find ways to, deal with that in a respectful and way. And God knows I had to. You know what I mean? And you put pressure on I put more pressure on me than anybody could. No administrator, no parent, no kid, no media member would ever put the pressure I put on myself. And you got to learn to say, hey, this is a game. It's more than checkers and chess is a game. This is more than a game. But in the end, you're trying to teach young people how to respond to life, and that's what it is. And I had to learn myself how to respond to life through the game. And it was, I love the game more than anything in the world, So I'm not going anywhere, and I had to pay my debt to society, and I did the right thing by stepping away and getting myself right. But I'm just blessed to have the opportunity I have right now.
Nobody
really
happier than I am to hear those words,
I
man.
appreciate it. I mean it.
We are here at Kufleitner's brand spanking new facility here in Boardman. Obviously, they have one in Columbiana too. So if you're in the market for a new Jeep, Dodge, Ram, or Chrysler, this is the guy you need to talk to, or all of these staff members here. I mean, I was in the door, and literally, there's a red carpet rolled out for you the second you walk in. So make
Great
sure,
people here.
Unbelievable, and having the opportunity to meet John at a golf outing and then sit with him last week.
Isn't he a genuine guy?
Unbelievable. One of the nicest guys, and he cares about kids, and that's why we're partnering with them to do a lot more stuff here on YSN. So tip of the cap to them as well, and for letting him open up his showroom here for us for this show. Every Tuesday morning. We got to get some more people out here.
Yeah, no,
Get the fans here. You know what I mean?
We'll make like college game day.
That's it. We're doing it every Thursday.
Yeah.
YSN primetime. I'm sure we're going to make our way out to Valley. Excited for that. But in the meantime, you and I are here every Tuesday. We'll be doing these Coaches' Corners as we do with so many others. But this one's exciting because, Andy, we get to talk about your kids. We get to talk about the kids. Let's do a coach's introduction to Valley Christian. And who do you think is going to make the headlines this year?
Well, you know what? I think our quarterback is a unique guy. Joe Batista is a unique guy. He's a big guy. When you see him, he looks imposing. About 6'3", 220, and he's a nice kid, and he's a good teammate. And he went through struggles last year at quarterback, and I got him this year, and I think he has over 700 yards passing here in 3 games. Wow. And a lot of that has to do, we have some great athletes. You give him the ball in space. He understands our system. He's a brave guy. He hangs in the pocket there, and sometimes he gets knocked off. We were talking earlier, and I said he's like Big Ben.
That's it.
He scrambles to throw, not to run. And he throws that ball, and he understands about throwing it early. And he's made some mistakes. But you know what I tell him? Whenever you throw a pick, go throw the ball the next time. I'm not worrying about it. I'm not, because that's part of our game, and you're going to throw picks when you throw the ball.
Well, hug it, chuck it football.
That's what it is, and I got the guys to go get it. And like I said, we start with our receivers. We got Vaishon Gurley, very hard guy to cover. He's a junior. Most of the team is juniors. We have 15 juniors.
It's got to be nice for you.
I'm really excited. But you know what? I tell the guys, hey, look, these guys don't have next year. They have this year. So you know what? We're going to be great next year too. But you know what? Let's do it right now. Let's shock everybody and show everybody we're a great team right now.
Yeah.
And we talk about it a lot. Vaishon's a great receiver. Jordan Pete's another junior receiver, and he's a great one. Philip Spradley was on the 4x1 team. and they won state. He's a junior.
Jeez.
And then Raekwon Bell's the senior receiver. He's also my safety, and he's a great player. Those 4 wideouts are tremendous. John Trell Mixon is our tight end, and he's a big guy, about 6'4", 230, 240, and he's a junior. He's a tremendous player, defensive end, tight end. And last year he was 300 pounds tackle, and he lost a lot of weight, and he has great hands. So I moved him to tight end. He does a great job for us blocking, but he can catch the ball and run, and he's a giant guy. And, that's hard for DBs at any level, especially smaller school.
Yep.
We have 4 running backs. They've done a great job for us up to this point. Cam Davenport's our senior, and he had a heck of a game against McDonald. He had 3 touchdowns. He had a scoop and score for a touchdown, about 60 yards, and then he had 2 rushing touchdowns. Malachi Gibbs is a senior running back, does a good job for us. Tyree Washington's a junior, and then we have a phenomenal freshman, and Jay Sean Lindsay. I think he leads our team in rushing right now. But I use all 4 guys. I tell them, don't be selfish. That's a big thing with our guys. It's not being selfish. It's just, hey, look, we have a bunch of guys running the ball, and you all have different skill sets. And like McDonald ran their running back and their quarterback, that was the game. We have 1 ball. I have 5, 6 great receivers. I have some great running backs. You got to be unselfish.
You're the Brownies.
Well, that's a good team to compare you to. I feel honored there. But you know what? When you have a lot of good players, they have to be unselfish.
Yep.
And they have to understand, there's 1 ball, and our game is use everybody. And I had 3 running backs that scored on Friday or Saturday night, and a couple different wideouts scored, and it's fun as a coach, that you have all these pieces. Our line's getting better.
Yep.
It really is. Our
Yep.
line's improving. And that was a spot when I got here. I said, hey, we have to make this. The linemen have to be the most important people on the team always, because they're the most unselfish.
Yep.
They don't ever get the ball. Their name's not in the paper. So, we have to really make our line feel a certain way. And it's the truth. It's not BS. It's the truth. On any team, your line is your most important players. It's not backs and receivers and quarterbacks. And our line has done a good job. Kyle Cornell's our center, and he's a junior. We also have our right guard and right tackle, or Kenny Ali and Philip Chandler Cox. They're seniors, and they've done a great job for us. And our left side is Sammy Washington, who's a junior. Our left tackle is a freshman. He got banged up in the game, Alfred Coward. So we had some other guys, Philip Tharp, step in and do a great job. Javier Edwards did a great job. Zion Rogers is going to be playing here now. And we have the guys up front. We just got to work with them and get them to really believe. But they want to do it. And when someone wants to do it, they're going to get better and better and better. We have a tremendous kicker and a senior, Aiden. And Aiden's a heck of a kid, and he's our senior kicker. And when you have a kicker in a small school, that's really dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
At any level.
Look what
that's
Springfield
dangerous.
did.
Oh, my God. That's something else what they had.
Yeah.
Midvik, that was something else. He was out of this world. And our defense, really, we run a 3-5, and that's the heart of the team. And we're getting better. We're getting better. We hit.
Yep.
We really hit viciously. We just need to understand about, responsibilities, and we put a lot of pressure with our blitzing, and sometimes I wish when we blitz our kids keep their head up, because sometimes they run right past.
Yep.
And that's just part of learning your scheme, and but they really like defense, and we have 5 linebackers. I think we're led by our junior inside linebacker Brian Tubbs. He's a real hitter, number 20, and Camden Lott's an inside linebacker, and Pabelon's an inside linebacker, John Quill Pabelon, and those 3 guys do a good job inside. Cam Davenport's our outside linebacker to the strength, and a lot of times we're in a 3-3 stack nickel. So we have 4 DBs. Tyree Washington is number 7. He's a heck of a strong safety, and our free safety is Raekwon Bell, senior. And our corners, we use a bunch of different guys. Philip Spradley. He's a slot receiver, and Jordan Pete. They play corner as well as Adams. We're getting young Gibbs in there. So we have a nice defense, and we rotate guys in there, especially up front. But our team's getting better and better and better. And you know what? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. We love to win the league. That's the number one thing I tell the kids. Win the league, man. Whether you make the playoffs or not, win your league.
Yep.
That'll take care of itself.
That's a banner.
Yeah, and that's like, hey, you won the league championship. That's, when you're playing football, that's what you're playing to win the league. And then after that, there's only one team that wins the state title.
Yep.
Been close a couple times, and you know what? If you don't win it, you lose at some point, and it's hard. I remember the first time we got to the state semifinal against Buckeye Central. We lost 22-21, and it was in Massillon Stadium. It was a big crowd, and it was gut-wrenching because, you think to yourself, we're never going to get back here again. We're never going to get – that was our chance. And then, you go back to work the next day. I took a week off and said I'm going back to work. And, luckily we were in 3 regional championships while I was there, and we were in 2 state semifinals. We lost another one 14-10 to Gloucester Trimble. That was tough. But then you say, hey, been here, done that. So you know what? Get back on a horse and ride. And then you know what? Things work out. They do.
I love that you've already got the 1,000-yard gaze into that state championship. I love that that's the goal, no matter if it's this year or moving forward.
I believe it. You know what? When you got experience in those games, you got to share your experience with the kids. And it's a weapon. It's a weapon. Guerrero found that out. That's a weapon. Once you get deep, there's conversations you can have.
There's a hunger.
Yes, and you can tell the kids, hey, these games are won by humans. They're not superheroes.
Yeah.
They're like you.
Yep.
They bleed like you. They go to school like you. They put their pants on like you.
Yep.
You just need to be brave. You need to be very brave. And then, when you get your opportunity, make the most of your opportunity.
I love it. All right, we're going to talk when we do these, we talk X's and O's for a while.
Sure.
We talk about your kids. We talk about your staff, which we'll get to next week. One thing being this week, very special in many different ways and capacities, and depending on how you remember it, 20 years ago, this week, 9/11.
Yeah.
These kids that you're coaching weren't even alive at that point. And you as a guy that has a lot of patriotism, a lot of love for this country, number one, where were you? And how do you feel, like when you remember it, how do you remember it? And how do you teach it kind of moving forward to these kids and people that ask you about it?
Well, I was at YSU. I pulled in to go to class, and a lot of cars weren't there. I'm not kidding you. I had no idea. I walked into Kilcawley Center, and I looked at the TV, and we were attacked, and I thought, this ain't real.
Yeah.
This isn't real. And it was crazy because, it changed our country forever. I remember before that, you could walk right up to a lot of national monuments. You could walk right up to a lot of the country was much more open. You know what I mean? And taking my 6th, 7th, and 8th graders for years to Washington, D.C. and New York, Philadelphia and Gettysburg to see the monuments and see the history of the country. I did that every year at Reserve. And as a boy going to those places before 9/11, the country was open.
Yeah. After
that, the country was not open.
Fenced.
It's like it's sad because the youth have to wait in lines and get scanned and checked, and it's just a necessary evil. And it's just sad that our country, to a degree, has had to do that. Because we are. Hey, this is the greatest country on earth. And someone might say, we have our problems, and absolutely, we have problems. Like right now, this is very heightened time.
Tough skating.
It is, and you have to watch what you say, watch what you do. But at the same time, there's no other place in the world like it where you could, start from rock bottom, and you can have a better life for yourself if you work hard and you believe in certain principles, and you have the right mindset. You can get out of any situation. You have to have some ability. You have to have some. You have to have a work ethic. But it's the greatest country ever, and for us to have to live like this now, it's saddened, but. We have to take care of ourselves too. We have to take care of, and not being, political. I don't want to be, but you know what? You have to put, prioritize things.
Self-care.
Your faith, your family, your country. If you don't, it's not being mean, but You lock the door at night at your house because you love the people on the inside. Not because you hate the people on the outside.
Right.
You love the people on the inside. And I think that we had to really reflect on that the last 20 years. You know, you can love everyone and try to help everybody, but you better help yourself too. And you better be good to your own first. And I think that, you know, we're going through that still now. We are. You know, we just left Afghanistan, and the country's a mess. The country's a mess now. And, I don't want to talk about winning or losing a war, but the moment we left, the bad guys took over. So, you know, that's disheartening, you know. And then, you know, 20-year anniversary, we left there, and it's just a depressing thing to some degree. But you got to be the best person you can be and let some things take care of themselves, because that'll drive you nuts, too, when you start focusing on that stuff. That'll drive you absolutely nuts. So we got, you know, I put my faith in the people in government to do the right thing. And, you know, and you got to talk, again, you talk to your kids. I talk to my kids about this 100%.
Yep.
I talk to them in the classroom and constantly, and they knew where I stood. I'm with the country.
Yep.
You know, I'm with the country. I'm with our veterans, period. Them first. And then we go down the line from there. But
Well, and that was one of the biggest things, and the things that I learned first about you and your programs, and how you kind of bring patriotism in your programs is I'll never forget, for as long as I live, you in Columbiana coming out with the flags.
wasn't that great?
Oh, my God.
Wasn't it moving?
It was. And it's something that not everybody has to do, not everybody will do, but you took it upon yourself with Coach Spate,
Yeah.
and you guys joined forces, you know, so to speak, and did that. Why do you do that? And don't take that the wrong way. Like, what is it about this country that makes you want to embed it into the lives of every single one of your players, and let them know what they're playing for and why they're able to play on a daily basis?
Well, it's what you just said. They get to play the greatest game ever created in the greatest country ever established. And we wanted to do something to show veterans that we appreciate them.
Jerseys. I mean, you had helmet decals.
Wasn't that something? Hey, wasn't it like
the
one
C was painted red, white, and blue?
Wasn't
at the
it like
field?
one of the best? I felt that was one of my proudest moments coaching. It had nothing to do with winning and losing.
Yeah.
Coach Tressel came out there and spoke to all the veterans in the end zone. I'll always remember him talking. He took the microphone away from his mouth, and he just spoke to them and said, if these kids play with an ounce of bravery that you guys have showed in your life, we're all going to be entertained tonight. You know, my hair was standing up when he said that. But all the kids came out with flags. Our bands played together. It was a great moment. And Bob's like that. Hey, Bob is a country first patriot. Bob's big time. Coach Spate's like that big time. I get along with him. He's one of my dear friends here in coaching. And I said, hey, we talked and had an idea, and that was like one of the high points. It had nothing to do with winning and losing the game. You know, it had something to do with we're going to show people that at an age where things are touchy and people are on edge about everything, that we're going to do the right thing, and we're not going to be afraid to do the right thing. And this is our beliefs. And, you know, that's okay. People that don't. I don't know how you could live in this country and not. And now I'm a history teacher, so I guess I have a deeper understanding of things. A little bit. But you know what? I don't know how you could grow up in this country and just not respect. You know, people are not always treated the same, but we've gotten better. And history has showed us that this country's gotten better.
Yep.
And people do earn their rights, and people do earn equal standings. And sometimes, you know, it takes time. You know, things don't happen overnight. We had bloody civil war where 600,000 people died in order for people to have their freedom. And on my side, I had 44 fight for the North and 17 fight for the South. You know, I had to look through my genealogy, and you know what? It's a real touchy thing. You know, people don't want to talk about a lot of those things. I think the only way you heal is by talking about those things, because by burying your head in the sand like an ostrich and acting like things aren't there,
They don't go away.
They don't go away, and you have to talk about them. And you know what? You can be. I think the word's empathy. Have empathy for other people. Yeah. You know what? Like I'm coaching kids in Youngstown. You know, kids are kids, and whatever. If you don't teach it, and you don't stop it, you're allowing it. Mm-hmm. So you know what? We take a lot of pride. Our kids all stand for the flag, and we had Ellsworth color guard come out for our 2 home games, and the kids, they're very proper. And you tell the kids, hey, this is the one thing. The flag is the one thing that can unite you and me. No matter where we come from, no matter what, that's a uniting thing, not a dividing thing. Society has allowed that to be a dividing conversation.
Yep.
You should never, because the one thing the flag stands for is we're going to respect people that died so we could be free. And if you just look at it like that, you know, this is not, I just thought it was always nonsense. That's not the time to take your social problems during that moment. That's a time to reflect on people that sacrificed their lives, white, black, all the different colors, you know, all the different races, all the different ethnicities. And people have died so you and me can live free. So I, you know, explain that to kids. And then they think, oh my gosh, there's another, this is not the time to protest whatever it is, you know. And I don't hate people that did do that, took knees, and, because they're upset about something.
Yep.
It's just when do you voice that? And
But
that's
that's
not
one of the
time.
things in our country is they have the freedom to do that.
Yeah,
Because
and you have
of-
to respect them for it.
Absolutely.
Hey, if that's what they want to do, that's fine. If I was coaching an NFL team or one of those teams, don't do that. You know, and it's just not the right time. It's not. It really isn't, because there's as many African Americans in our country that sacrifice their life too.
Absolutely.
And that flag means a lot to them. I brought the leader of the VFW in the state of Ohio. He's a black man down. He talked about why stand, and why we stand and salute the flag. And you know, when the kids hear that from the perspective of, you know, a veteran that was a black man, you start thinking differently. And it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, you know. And when you talk about Christ and glorifying God, I know a lot of schools say that we don't want to touch that. Well, the country was founded on that.
Yep.
And you know what? Read a little bit of history, and you'd find out that, you know, in God we trust, and it's not a bad thing. It's a fine line.
Yep.
There's a fine line, but you got to. We pray before practice and after practice. And I'm not a holy roller. I don't act like one. But that's important.
Yep.
And it is important. And you and me are only going to be here for a moment. And then you're gone. So what you do, I always tell the kids, it says, you know, I was born in 1980. Whenever I die, there's going to be that date. And the dash, that's your life. What did your dash mean? You know what I mean? And I hope when I pass, you know, they say, hey, the guy was a God-fearing man that loved his family and loved his country and tried to teach those principles to kids, and he did it really well. He used his talents through a game. You know what I mean? And that's, you know, that's what I hope they say about me. And you know, the things maybe I'm brash or, you know, in the game I'm over the top sometimes. You know, that's a little piece of the movie. The movie's a big thing.
It's one chapter of the book.
And if you look at that little piece of the movie, well, then people can judge you any way they want.
Yes, sir.
But once they get to know you, they know who you are as a person. And then I think a lot of people, I think with most people, you say, man, I didn't know. That's a heck of a guy. You know, that's a heck of a guy. I know a lot of people are our former president. A lot of people, he comes out very brash, abrasive. But then a lot of people meet with him one-on-one. They say, this guy's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. You know, and this is one of the kindest guys. He's open. He is who he is. And you know what? You got to be who you are. And leadership's a funny thing. People think that they want their leaders to be these perfect people. And you know what? They're not. We're fallible. We're human beings. You know, George Washington was a great, great man. He also had over 300 slaves. Now, you and me know that's not right. You and me know today that is like the most irreprehensible. That's terrible.
Yep.
But at that time, that's just how it was, you know. And it took a long time to say, hey, can't do this. This is wrong. Yep. You know. And he's fallible as a man. You know, you could go through history and look at Caesar and all these characters in history. Napoleon. You know, you could say, you know, they're conquerors, and a conqueror in the ancient world was not a good guy.
Right.
You know, they were bad. They were tough dudes, and they didn't. You know, leaders. It's a funny thing. We want them to be X-Men characters. You know, we want them to be the greatest pieces of us. You know, where do these leaders come from?
You want it to be a Marvel story.
No, honestly, and really, they come from the American public.
Yep.
You know, they grew up like you and me,
Yep.
and they love their country, or they decide, hey, I'm gonna I'm going to go run for politics and try to make things better. And it takes bravery to do that.
Yeah.
Put yourself out there. I just wish that they had some term limits. If I had a complaint with our system, it is term limits, because you know what? Serving the country should be something that you do for a while, and then you go back to the farm.
Yep.
Or you go back to whatever job you did.
Yep.
You give that up to go serve the country. You don't make a lifetime.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that, because now you're getting into corrupt things.
Yep.
And you're getting into a lot of things that, and I know this is a football talk show.
That's okay.
But you know what? This is life, and this is why we are the greatest country ever. A lot of these things we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
And you have an opportunity to make yourself better, society better, and I use football for that. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and affect a lot of kids. And the most things I'm proud of, it really has nothing to do with football. You know, they may, the way I am, they made me VFW Teacher of the Year in the state of Ohio. That was like, to me, that was a much bigger accomplishment than, because you affect a lot of kids and you talk to them about these things. And then, Youngstown Veteran Council made me the Man of the Year in Youngstown. I shouldn't have been. There's a lot of guys that have given up a lot more. I've never served the country other than teaching. Yep. You got to give that. I think those things go to veterans. But they said, hey, you have a big mouth, and you use your mouth to pump us up. And, to me, it's an honor talking about those guys. It's an honor. It really is, because I really believe in my heart. The most important people in our country are not politicians. They're not billionaires. They're veterans.
Yep.
Because if they didn't do what they did, we don't get to live like this.
No chance.
And then we don't get to talk about the greatest game on earth.
Yep.
And how it affects high school football in this area. Takes on its own.
It's a beast.
It
is a monster.
And in the last Vindicator that was ever written, they asked me to write a piece in it, and that was an honor. It was at midnight in the Valley, and I talked about how high school football in this area was more than, it's not a game. It was a way of life. And the people that played it and coached it over the years, the papers and the media are the people that bring those people to life. If the media doesn't cover the sports, if you're not doing this,
nobody knows.
You don't know. There's some good players and they play on Friday and that's it. But you guys bring it to life.
Yep.
And the Vindicator helped do that, like
Yep.
the Tribune and what you're doing. People bring that to life, and the people that brought it to life. The people that bring it to us, the Ackelsons and the Ballishes, and there's so many people out there. There's so many people out there. Krispinski does it, and there's so many people that bring it to life for us, and those people need to be the ones, thanked and talked about, and because if it wasn't for them doing it, if it wasn't for you doing this, people are interested in this. Yeah. They're interested in this, and football is a way of life in this area. And it's a way of life in our country. Baseball's our pastime, but football's our passion. And it's an honor to be a part of that.
No, it's awesome.
It is.
Listen, when you told me, hey, we're going to get real on this, I was like, let's go. And I think there's a lot of people that'll appreciate this. It's more than just football talk. It's getting to know Andy Hake and who he is more than just a headline from a year, 2 years ago or whatever. So thank you for sitting down with us.
And we could talk about, next time we could talk about trap counter and how we're going to we're going to counter the 5 and trap the 3 and ISO the 1 and on sprint out we got to seal the edge and run flood routes and different ways to run flood routes and but I think when you really want to sit down and I get to know people and get to know who are these guys that are coaching. I feel that like my strength coaching kids is being honest, coming from the heart. My father was the greatest mentor I have ever had. My mother and father, they were teachers. They taught special ed 35 years, both of them. And my dad's the greatest coach I've ever been around because he never lost the common touch with everybody. He was great. And he's helped me since I started doing this. He scripts the defense for us. Everywhere I went, does the defense, breaks it down, gives it to us, and. He taught me not football, but about life. And, I was just, I'm blessed to have 2 parents that were educators that taught me about how to treat people. And then once you learn that, you use your gift. But it was really an honor doing this. And, we'll bring different people on here. We'll have a great time.
Episode 1 in the books, baby.
Hey, God bless you,
Coach
man. I
Hake,
mean it, DJ.
we appreciate you. That is going to do it for episode 1 of Coach's Corner with the Valley Christian coach, Mr. Andy Hake, brought to you by our friends over at Kufleitner, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram.
My man.
We'll see you next time.